Good morning. Hello, it's Wednesday. It's 10 o'clock. I'm Victoria, Derbyshire. Our top story today, a passenger has died in the United States after being partially sucked from the window of a plane mid-flight.
It felt like it was free falling, and of course everyone's freaking out, everybody's crying.
Also, the misery caused to Windrush migrants as more cases emerge of people who've been told they're living here illegally. Labour says the Home Secretary should consider her position.
I think this incident is so shameful and has caused such distress to so many people that she really needs to consider her position.
We'll be speaking to a man who came to the UK as a baby in the 1960s and has been fighting to prove his legal status to remain in this country. And this programme can reveal that over half of siblings in foster care or care homes in some local authorities are being separated from their brothers and sisters.
I needed that person, and that person was basically dragged away from me and taken away where I wouldn't see him and I wouldn't have no contact.
So many of you getting in touch with your own experiences. We'll hear from some of you in the next half hour of the programme. Good morning. Time for the latest BBC News. Here's Ben in the newsroom.
Morning, Victoria. A woman has died after being partially sucked out of the window of an American passenger plane. One of the plane's engines exploded while it was flying between New York and Dallas. Shrapnel from the blast broke one of the plane's windows, causing the aircraft to depressurize 30,000 feet up in the air. The pilot did manage to make an emergency landing in Philadelphia. Well, this was the moment that the pilot of the Southwest Airlines flight made contact with air traffic control.
Okay, could you have the medical meet us there on the runway as well? We've got injured passengers.
Injured passengers, okay. And is your airplane physically on fire?
No, it's not on fire, but part of it's missing. They said there was a hole and someone went out.
I'm sorry, you said there was a hole and somebody went out?
Here, Labour says the Home Secretary Amber Rudd should consider her position over the misery caused by her department's treatment of Windrush generation migrants. The call from the Shadow Home Secretary Diane Abbott follows fears that people who arrived in the UK as children decades ago and who should have indefinite leave to remain now face deportation because of a lack of documentation. Yesterday, the Home Office admitted disposing of thousands of landing cards which had recorded the dates that people arrived in Britain. Inflation fell last month to its lowest level for a year. Consumer Price Index inflation dropped from 2.7% in February to 2.5% in March. The fall has dampened expectations of an interest rate rise and saw the pound fall slightly against the dollar on the currency markets. The head of the CIA is reported to have travelled to North Korea to meet the country's leader, Kim Jong-un. According to unnamed officials, Mike Pompeo went to Pyongyang over the Easter weekend to prepare for direct talks between Mr. Kim and the American president. Donald Trump is currently hosting the Japanese Prime Minister, and he told reporters that 5 locations are being considered for the meeting. The former First Lady of the United States, Barbara Bush, has died at the age of 92. She was married to President George Bush for 73 years and was the mother of President George W. Bush. As First Lady, she set up a foundation for family literacy, helping parents and children of disadvantaged Americans to read and write. And she spoke out against segregation and backed more liberal views on abortion rights. That is a summary of our latest BBC